Do you like frogs? Do you want frogs in your backyard? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you how you can get frogs in your own backyard. Today, we're going to learn about the California tree frog of the genus Pseudacris. Hi, my name is Alex, and welcome to my channel. I live in a house that's very close to La Ballona Creek in West Los Angeles. Before European settlers came to Los Angeles, the Tongva people called this place Puinukipar. They are still here, living amongst those who survived the genocide of California Native peoples. The creek was a great source of water, food, and shelter for the Tongva people who built Guashna village located at the mouth of the creek. The creek used to be the main source of the Los Angeles River before a series of deadly floods in the 1930s. Then, the Army Corps of Engineers came in and channelized the creek, covering it in concrete. Now, the Ballona Creek Watershed collects all the rainwater from the area inside the Santa Monica Mountains, Hollywood Hills, and Baldwin Hills, and then funnels it straight out into the La Ballona wetlands and the Pacific Ocean. The channelization of the creek destroyed a precious wetland ecosystem that provides habitat to countless plants and animals. In fact, the Ballona wetlands are the most prominent and one of the last remaining coastal wetlands in LA County. I've grown up in the same house for 25 years now and have never heard or found a frog in my backyard. I knew that they could be in La Ballona Creek, but none had hopped the 50-foot concrete levee that blocks them between my yard and the water down there until now. There is a California tree frog, which you can hear right now, living inside this fish tank pond that I planted with native plants, and this is his story. My partner and I keep reptiles, amphibians, and inverts like a bearded dragon, leopard geckos, white tree frogs, and much, much more. If you're interested in that, you should follow her at Lichen and Lizards on Instagram, and hopefully YouTube videos are coming soon. Back on track, this tank behind me used to house our bearded dragon Ed, and then our blue-tongued skink Marceline. When they got big enough, we moved them into a proper-sized enclosure, and this one was just sitting in the garage. With all my work in the garden, I kept looking at this fountain and thinking how much I want a pond. I was inspired by Alexis Nicole on TikTok and Instagram, and ponds are great for wildlife. They provide shelter and water for birds, mammals, insects. They also are key requirements for the habitat of amphibians like frogs and toads. In Los Angeles, we have a couple species of amphibians that call LA their home. We have a native species like California tree frog and western toad. There are also invasive species like the American bullfrog that comes from eastern central United States. So, I had the tank and then I needed the plants. I had a cutting of an arroyo willow from doing habitat restoration at La Ballona Wetlands with the Friends of La Ballona Wetlands. We were cutting back the overgrown willows to make room for a path. I asked if I could take a branch and they said yes. Willows love to have their feet wet and are always a good sign that there is water nearby or underground. Next, I needed some more plants and terracotta pots to fill the tank. I went to Artemisia Nursery, which is very close to Cal State LA. This is the closest native plant nursery to me, which is kind of sad considering I have to drive about an hour to get there. There, I talked to Antonio Sanchez, who also works for the Santa Monica Mountains Fund, about what plants I should choose for the pond. He is very knowledgeable about plants around the LA area and helped me choose a couple plants that could thrive in the pond. I bought deer grass, yerba mansa, spreading rush, fuchsia flowered gooseberries, scarlet monkey flowers, and mugwort. It took me a while to commit to the pond at first, so I kept the plants next to my seedlings. The monkey flowers flowered and everything stayed alive with regular watering. The time came and I filled up the pond with sand and water. Then I repotted the plants inside their new clay pots and put them inside the pond. I think the shock of getting infrequent water in the summer to their roots completely submerged in water may have shocked the gooseberry, mugwort, and monkey flowers, But the other plants survived, and I sprinkled my seed mix from Kakashi Native Seed Store and waited. For those of you worried about mosquitoes, like I am right now, you can use mosquito dunks that you throw in the water, and they release a bacteria that prevents the mosquito larvae from hatching. They are considered safe for all other life, but frogs do eat mosquitoes and their larvae, so it could be nice for them to have a little snack every now and then. I do very little maintenance on the pond. Filling up the water feature behind it and maintaining the water level after rains is pretty much all I need to do. I've moved the plants around for better sunlight and placed a mugwort cutting from another habitat restoration at the West LA Community College microforest. After the winter rains, I saw that seeds started germinating, the rush flowered, as well as some of the seeds like these purple Chinese houses started to flower as well. I also started hearing what sounded like the croak of a frog coming from the hedge on the other side of my neighbor's wall. Then, one mid-April night, we heard some very loud croaks coming from the backyard. We rushed outside and found that the croaks were coming from the pond. We saw him in the corner of the tank with his vocal sac puffed out like a balloon. After a bit of hide and seek, we caught him and took some quick photos for iNaturalist and put him back into the pond. Amphibians breathe through their skin and take in chemicals that are found on our hands, so it's important to wash your hands before and limit the time you hold frogs. There have been a couple nights where we heard and found 2 frogs croaking in the pond, but I don't think that there's enough space in the pond for 2 males. Our new friend would spend the next 2 months croaking late into the night in hopes that a female would mate with him. The genus Pseudacris has many species of frog that overlap in different ranges and habitats. I believe that this little guy is a Baja California tree frog because he has a stripe through the eye that the California tree frog does not. So, his scientific name is Pseudacris hypochondiaca of the Hylidae family of frogs. Sources say that they breed from February to August, so we may be hearing this guy go on for a couple more months. Once this guy finds a mate, he'll attempt amplexus, which means he jumps onto the female and externally fertilizes the eggs released by the female. The eggs are attached to twigs and rocks at the bottom of quiet pools in still or flowing water. After 2 to 3 months, the tadpoles will hatch and begin their metamorphosis. The tadpoles feed on periphyton, filamentous algae, diatoms, and pollen in or on the surface of the water. They feed using suction and a beak-like structure that helps scrape vegetation off surfaces. The Baja California Tree Frog's call is famously heard in almost every movie produced in Hollywood. Sound designers in Hollywood would go out to the mountains or rivers and record the calls of our little friends and put them over videos of toads or some other frog. Los Angeles is also home to Frogtown, a gentrified community officially known as Elysian Valley that straddles the LA River and Dodger Stadium. The river in this area has a soft bottom that allows for plants to grow and wildlife can use the river to find food and shelter. You can watch the PBS SoCal series on the LA River to learn more about this area. California tree frogs are constantly heard in this area due to the immense habitat that the soft bottom river provides for them. The Ballona Creek, on the other hand, has very few soft bottom areas. Part of the reason the area surrounding La Ballona Creek is not known as another frog town is because there is very little habitat for them to exist here. However, as we've seen with this very little pool in my backyard, when you provide the habitat, the wildlife will come. I spent very little money on this pond, and I didn't have to dig or build anything. I used a secondhand fish tank that I originally got for free and put a bunch of native plants in and around the water. It's not just the frogs that have used this pond. Birds, squirrels, and insects use the pond as well. I hope that dragonflies come by and lay their eggs in the pond because they eat mosquito larvae and I am suffering right now. For those that don't have the space for a pond like this, you can fill up a bowl or saucer with water and place it under a bush. If you keep the water clean, frogs will use this to moisturize and keep their skin clean. If you don't have any outdoor space and want to help contribute to your local native habitat area, go volunteer. There are countless state or national parks, friends of associations, or private groups that maintain and restore habitats in your local area. If you're in West LA, I suggest Friends of La Ballona Wetlands, Mujeres de la Tierra, the Santa Monica Mountains Fund, and Nature Nexus Institute, where you may see me at Baldwin Hills or Kennethon. So, now you know how to attract frogs to your backyard. Let me know in the comments if there's a plant or animal that you want to attract to your garden. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and thank you for watching. Excuse me, sir, what do you have to say about the news?